After a recent clip surfaced in the NBA discourse or NBA media of Trendon Watford complaining about being doubled by a playoff team in crunch time against the Indiana Pacers, he went ahead and told Tyrese Haliburton that he was having a down year.
This is not, I mean, it's a playful conversation about what place belongs. See, security is over there making sure that they're there. It's not, ain't nobody throwing punches.
So in today's video, instead of talking about Tyrese Haliburton, I want to talk about who the hell Trendon Watford is, because for him to talk like that, he needs to be able to back it up. So can Trendon Watford back up that talk? That's what we're going to find out today. If you like what you see, like and sub. If you don't, that's okay. Appreciate you guys for watching, and let's get right into it. Trendon Watford was a 5-star recruit, the #1 player in Alabama, the #4 power forward, and the 20th player nationally according to the 24/7 Sports player rating. He was 6'9", 230 pounds, out of Mountain Brook High School in Birmingham, Alabama in the class of 2019. The only power forwards that were better than him were Jeremiah Robinson Earl, future NBA player, were Matthew Hunt. He might have touched the NBA, but I don't think he did. And of course, Washington legend Jaden McDaniels, who is a very good player. Now, Trendon Watford, I would say out of those four is the second best NBA player out of them, but he did also commit to LSU, which was kind of shocking. LSU is a decent basketball school in the SEC, but nothing too crazy. He was between them and Memphis, but it was pretty obvious that he was always going to go to LSU and try to make a difference with the Tigers. During his time in college, Trendon Watford was a 2-year player, and in both years, he was a fine player. Now, I will say his sophomore year is way more impressive than his freshman year, even though in his freshman year he did put up 13.5 points and 7 rebounds. I only want to talk about the sophomore year because, you know, it's the one that's most important. Like always, I will have a full picture of all of his stats up if you want to read through them while I yap. But in that sophomore year, 16.3 points, he averaged half a block, 1 steal, 3 assists, 7.5 rebounds, would shoot 65% from the free throw line, 51% from the 2, 31.5% from the 3, which led to a field goal percentage overall of 48%. Really good, really decent. A fine player for the LSU Tigers. And after that, he decided to go on to the NBA draft, in which he got a lot of decent grades within the NBA draft.net player grade numbers, whatever I call them. I call them something new every single video, but he had an 8 in the passing, 8 in ball handling, 8 in NBA readiness, and 8 in size. So he was just NBA ready forward with good size is basically what it came down to. Everything else was a 7 or a 6. Like he had 6 in quickness. He wasn't really an athlete. He just had the size and he was NBA ready. They felt like not a bad player that a team would want. Now, Trendon Watford would unfortunately go undrafted this draft cycle, but that's not really his own fault. He really wasn't the peak of a prospect that everyone thought he would be. His strengths was that he was a very, very good size power forward with a 7'1" wingspan, standing at 6'9". He had a long stride type of athlete, so he'd cover a lot of ground when he was moving, which is effective when you're a big man. He has kind of an unorthodox play style. He operated as a matchup nightmare in the front court during his 2 years at LSU, but can also face up with bigger front court players with his bounce and kind of similar movement styles to them as well. He makes good use of ball fakes and Euro steps at the rim. He was just a smart, NBA ready, nice size player, but the weaknesses is where stuff really starts to stand out. He wasn't really quick or explosive, which could impact him on both ends of the court. His lateral quickness was bad, defends with a high center of gravity, and had a hard time containing penetration from other power forwards. He showed inconsistent effort and overall awareness and gave up a fair share of easy buckets when trying to guard opposing players. So he did have a laziness problem on defense, and his 3-point jumper was still something to develop. Now, he was compared to Kevin Jones, and I will say this, Trendon Watford has completely surpassed Kevin Jones in every single way in the NBA. Kevin Jones was a 1-year player for the Pelicans who averaged 3 points a game and 2.5 rebounds over 32 games. And as you can see, Trendon Watford blows him out of the water on each one of those statistics. I honestly feel a little bit bad that he got compared to someone that bad, but when we think about it, Trendon Watford went undrafted. He wasn't a crazy prospect. You couldn't have predicted that he was going to turn into a nice little role player in the NBA. Now, his career would start in Portland, but it wouldn't take a while for him to jump off. He's basically been the same player for all 4 years that he's been in the NBA. Trendon Watford started out his career by averaging 7.5 points, 4 rebounds on 53.2% from the field. Like, he was a fine player. Now, the 3-point jumper didn't really come along until year 2 and 3 and has fallen off year 4, but especially in this most recent year, he's averaging a career high in points in 20 minutes a night. 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 46.8% from the field, 31.5 34% from 3. Trendon Watford is having a fine year for NBA role players. Now, I will say that the 3-point percentage dropping as much as it did by 8% over from like the last 2 seasons, that's a little bit alarming, right? But Trendon Watford also still is gonna be a fine player. Like, I'm not really worried about him. I think he's going to be a fine backup power forward. I think he could start for teams like the Brooklyn Nets. He could start for teams like the Utah Jazz if he really wanted to. He's still somewhat decently young. He's probably like 25. So I'm really not worried about Trendon Watford in the future. What worries me is his talk on the court when it comes to being guarded by playoff teams and thinking that him being doubled is the end-all be-all, and how he was flexing being undrafted. Trendon Watford was a phenomenal recruit. He was a good college player. But in the NBA, I don't know if he has room to talk to Tyrese Haliburton about getting doubled. I'm not here to speculate. He would absolutely beat me up in a 1v1. He'd probably beat me up in real life too. Not even probably, he would, all right? This is just me trying to talk on the recent events that happened within the MLB. Did I just say the MLB? Shout out the MLB. Opening day was yesterday. Cubs won, Cubs. Anyway, yeah. Let's go ahead and hop into some of this tape. I can try to break down what Trendon Watford does really well in his scoring game. Shout out Intuition Hoops too for great basketball coverage on the most niche role players ever. Trendon Watford here has the ball, gets a screen. And this is what I really like about Trendon Watford. He's not afraid to attack the rack. He attacks the rack, strong, one-handed finish, grabs his own miss, puts the ball back up. He doesn't really look that slow here, right? But when we actually break it down, look at how long the strides are. One stride, he's from here to here to here. Those are 2 strides, and he's already in the paint. You can really see the long movement style from Trendon Watford here. Great attention on the offensive glass to get his own miss. That's something that Trendon Watford does very well. Here we kind of have a misdirection 3 where we can show off the jumper a little bit. Trendon Watford comes uphill, sets a little, you know, I'm not really going to call that a screen. I'm more just going to call that an interference, where he just kind of interferes with the man. They end up doubling. Don't let me forget this man's name. Oh my goodness, why am I blanking? That has to be Tariq Whitehead. There's no one else that it could be. Trendon Watford, though, fires the 3. The jumper doesn't even look bad. The way he lands is a little awkward. Like, if we come back, look at his feet. Like, he kind of lands where he, like, leans to his right, you know? But other than that, it's a solid jumper with solid form. His hand stays in the cookie jar. It's a very decent form from Trendon Watford. But I will say it is a lot to be desired, especially on the lower half. Here, we have him on the offensive glass in the paint. A 1-2 easy finish with the 2-hand jam. Trendon Watford, very good at finishing around the rim. Very decent at everything like that. But I hope you learned a little bit more about Trendon Watford today. If you did, I appreciate you guys for watching. Like and sub as always. More content coming in 2 days. No, yes, the 30th. The 30th, you will get another video. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, let's go.